How's it going, guys? So, Chelsea 3, Leeds United 1, and I'll admit I was nervous about this game. Leeds have shown that they're going to take points off the big teams this season. I was nervous during the game because Leeds were playing well, but we did end up coming out 3-1 winners, so let's get into the player ratings. Edouard Mendy, 6 out of 10. I've seen fans of other clubs basically celebrating because Mendy isn't as perfect as we thought he was because he was at fault for the goal, but honestly, I think saying he was at fault for the goal is harsh because it was just a brilliant pass from Calvin Phillips. Left both Zuma and Mendy in total no man's land. Bamford stolen to score, but the goal clearly didn't shake Mendy that much because afterwards he was back to being as safe as houses. James, 8 out of 10. Yes, he was caught quite high up the field for that Leeds United goal, but honestly, high up the field is where we want him, and counterattacks are going to happen from time to time as a result of that. But in recent games, he's been whipping in these amazing crosses that haven't been converted. That is not going to be a problem with Olivier Giroud in the team. Pretty much the first ball that Reece James put in, Giroud was able to get on the end of it to score. And hopefully that partnership can grow from here. Zuma, 7 out of 10. Okay, out of himself and Mendy, I would say that Zuma was slightly more at fault for that Leeds goal. He probably should have just dropped back rather than being drawn towards the ball. But at the end of the day, he fully redeemed himself with that absolute towering header. And it puts him on 4 goals already for the season. At the rate he's going to finish on double digits. I know that for goal-scoring defenders, John Terry leads the way overall with 41. But I'm just wondering, I actually don't know, so comment below if you do know, what is the most goals scored by a defender in a single season? Diago Silva, 8 out of 10. Thiago was captain for this one, and what I saw from him was the perfect captain's performance. On top of being as solid as ever in defence, you could see he was always talking. Ziyech was down injured. First thing Thiago does is march up and see how he is. Later on in the game, Thiago himself gets injured, but we've no subs left, so he decides without a shadow of a doubt that he's going to soldier on. It's pretty inspirational from the guy. Ben Chilwell, 6 out of 10. The big talking point with Chilwell was that would-be, could-be, should-be penalty incident with Poveda. Now, we've seen them given in recent times. There's minimal contact, VAR looks at it, goes, well, there's contact, and gives the penalty. On this occasion, Poveda doesn't go down, the VAR don't seem to take much interest in it, and play goes on. I would say that I think Chilwell was lucky, because if VAR do decide to have a proper look at it, they probably do give the penalty. But I want to say fair play to Poveda, because a foul for me is the contact is enough to knock you off your feet, and it clearly wasn't enough to knock him off his feet, so he doesn't go down. And I think that he deserves a lot of credit for that. Golo Kante, 9 out of 10. I know that some people might look at this, say, that's a high rating, he didn't score, he didn't assist. But Kante's job isn't to score or assist, his job is to run the midfield. I had a go at him in the Tottenham game because while he did his defensive job really well, he pretty much slowed down all of our attacks, but he was the exact opposite this time. He was sharp, he dribbled past people for fun, he was picking great passes, and he absolutely stole the show in midfield. To Mount, 7 out of 10. Mason seems to get a lot of stick, particularly from Chelsea fans, and I can't for the life of me understand why, because the more I watch him, the more I like him. He very rarely gives the ball away, even though he often tries audacious things. He whipped in a beautiful corner for Kurt Zouma's header. Not the first time we've seen him do that, not the last time either. And all I'd say is, Mason, if you're watching this, keep up the good work. Kai Havertz, 5 out of 10. Okay, so we've already talked about the 2 of the 3 midfielders who played well. Unfortunately for Kai, he played not so well. He just looked slow and sluggish when being asked to defend, and then in transition he gave the ball away a lot of times. He didn't look as sharp as he did before getting sick, which is maybe understandable, but Pep Guardiola is bringing in a whole new "I'm picking a team based on form and not reputation" theory, and if Frank Lampard starts to buy into that philosophy as well, then it mightn't be long before we see Kai starting on the bench more often than not. Kristin Pulisic, 7 out of 10. So I watched Pulisic play in midweek against Sevilla, and he was quite frustrating to watch because he kept on trying these spectacular things. Basically none of them came off. This time around, he wasn't perfect, but his endeavours did pay off a bit more. At the end of the game, he did manage to get himself a goal, which I feel like he fully deserved, and it lets me do this. First time for Pulisic, 3 out of 30 overall. Still waiting for the ball to get rolling on this, but Who knows? A few hat-tricks and all of a sudden we're in business. Teemo Werner, 6 out of 10. Okay, so I know that there's probably people out there who immediately want me to put him as a 0 out of 10 because of his spectacular goal line clearance against our own player Giroud. But honestly, okay, that incident was wild, but apart from that, he played quite well. I'd say he's unlucky not to get on the score sheet, and I still was only going to give him a 5, but at the very end of the game, he countered, and you could tell he really wanted that goal, but instead of taking a shot that probably wasn't going to go in from the angle he was at, he laid the ball on the plate for Pulisic. It was unselfish, it put the game to bed. So Teemo Werner, hopefully you can get your scoring boots back on soon. Olivier Giroud, 8 out of 10. Okay, I'm a big fan of Tammy Abrahams, but I can't justify having him start all the time ahead of Giroud. I mean, the Frenchman's got virtually no minutes this season, and yet as soon as he's handed a start against Sevilla, he goes and scores 4 goals. In this game, he could have almost had 4 goals again. I mean, he did get 1. Let's face it, that header was going in. Teemo Werner didn't have to touch it. Hopefully from here on out, he starts getting more game time because I don't want him to leave in January. I don't think he wants to leave in January, but if it means getting minutes, he probably will, which would suck. So Lampard, more game time for Giroud. Please and thank you. Before I wrap this up, lads, I do want to give a shout out to Hakim Ziyech, who unfortunately went off injured inside the first half an hour, but before that he did manage to play a big part in setting up our opening goal. So Hakim, speedy recovery. Anyway lads, that's it for this one. A pretty big win, I would say, considering the fact that Leeds look like they're going to be a wild card in basically every game they play this season. Like if you did enjoy, comment below what you make of the ratings I've given, subscribe for more footy chats, and hopefully I'll see you all in the next video.